Football Queensland's coverage of the 2019 NPL, NPLW and FQPL season is brought to you by IFCA, Australia's only national football-specific coaching conference, 25th and 26th of May on the Gold Coast. Get your delegate pass today at ifcca.com.au. Play football. Join the team today. Visit playfootball.com.au to find your nearest club. Football Foundation, making football more accessible for every income, every gender, every ability, every background, every Indigenous Queenslander. Donate today.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Lions Stadium for this Round 10 NPLW clash between Lions FC and the Gap. As you can see, the players are already on the field. We're just about to start. So without any further ado, we'll run through the team sheets. So for Lions FC, in goals, number 1, Cassandra Zafina. Number 2, Winona Heatley. Number 3, Cannon Clough. Number 5, Kate Morton. Number 8, Mariel Ecker. Number 9, Whitney Knight. Number 10, Tegan Riding. Sophie Passion has the 12. Catherine O'Neill's wearing 13. Number 18, Misha Westland. Number 19, Rebecca Horsey. On the bench, Jessica Hogg, Jamila Riley, Georgia Chapman, Tanisha Stanley and Isabella Shuttleworth. For the Gap, in goal is number 24, Tierney Sunderland. Number 2, Hayley Riccardi. Number 3, Zali Eason-Coots. Number 5, Chloe Robertson. Number 8, Caitlin Winter. Number 11, Letitia Foster. Actually, Letitia Foster's on the bench. Taking her place is Tatiana Timmins. Charlie McLennan wears the 14. Number 16, Liz Doherty. 17, Sarah Miller. Number 18, Lane Sunderland. And number 21, Tiffany Dibley. So on the bench for the Gap, Letitia Foster, Emily Bowman and Rebecca Snell. As you can see, it's a threadbare squad from the Gap this evening with just 3 players on the bench. They've got players here, there and everywhere. Also a few injuries thrown in as well. Now, I'm not doing this match alone this evening. I've got a co-commentator and I'm thrilled to declare that tonight joining me is Ray Dower. Ray, thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks very much, Darren, and it's lovely to come back to Lions. Great stadium and good supporters of women's football over the last few years, really putting a lot of time and resources into the girls' game.
Ray Dower is, of course, the under-17s women's national team coach and the FQ coach mentor. So I have got a ton of questions for her this evening. I have pre-warned her. As we get underway here at Lions Stadium, Lions FC are, of course, in the orange shirts with the blue shorts, and the Gap are in their customary purple and yellow. Plenty of action happening in other games this afternoon. We'll bring you up to date with those results shortly. Lovely cool evening here at Lions Stadium. We had a little bit of rain around the place this afternoon. Driving to the game, we had pockets of rain here and there, but once we got to the ground, conditions have been fantastic here and the pitch is in immaculate condition. Ray, what sort of game are we looking for this evening from these two teams?
Well, I think it'll be an expansive game. I think both teams will use all the pitch, which is a nice big pitch here at Lions, so that'll suit both teams in the way they want to play. Obviously, the Gap, as you said, a fair few players out tonight, so that might change a few things that Lions might have practiced during the week.
Yes, of course, their most important player, I think one of the best players in the league, Ruth Blackburn, is missing this evening. She's in the Philippines. Of course, there are a swathe of injuries amongst the squad as well. So as we ran through that team sheet, there were a few names that popped up. So Tatiana Timmins, I suspect this evening is her debut. We did see her come off the bench last week in that match against Moreton Bay. What an amazing game that was last week. Chloe Robertson with the ball at her feet. Chloe Robertson played in midfield last week with Kim Abbott out of the side. She takes up a position in central defence. Turnover there. Lions quickly win the ball back. Bit of a battle for the possession at the moment. The Gap went out.
Well, that's certainly one thing that the Gap will need to do tonight, being, as we've said, short on players, short on experience there as well, that when they get those turnovers like that, when they force those sloppy turnovers, that they need to make them pay.
We mentioned that the injury cloud that the Gap players are suffering, but for Lions, it's all systems go. They've got very few players under injury clouds. A couple of players out, of course, and Ray, you've had a little bit to do with one or two of those.
Yeah, it's nice to see a fair few of my old Chargers over a number of years, over a number of different levels of competition, playing tonight. As you said, George Chapman out tonight for Lions. She's got a bit of a quad strain, so we won't see her take the field tonight. It's lovely to see Tegan Riding still playing. I think she's still got a lot to offer the game. She's played for a long time. I've coached Tegan in and around the spot since she was about 12 years old.
Lions getting the ball forward now. This is Ecker. Ecker gets past one. She can't get past a second. Gap trying to play the ball out by feet. O'Neill, of course, former Gap player. We've mentioned the injuries tonight, Ray. There's also a ton of subplots in this game with players that used to play at the Gap and are now taking up the orange shirts at Lions.
Yeah, there's a few chop and changes, hasn't there? Obviously, notable one there also with the coach, having a good chat there to Rob Askew before the game. He did say it was going to feel a little bit weird tonight, and I've been in those shoes when you coach against your team or other players, and it does feel a little bit weird.
We've got a Lions assistance coach whose partner plays for the Gap.
And I can't wait to give Braden some stick after the game about that too. Liz Doherty, of course, there just turning the ball over.
There's a chance now for Lions, Riding. The defensive work by Robertson.
Yeah, once again, just really unforced error there in and around the edge of the box. Liz Doherty's played that ball a little bit too close to Tegan Riding, who's pretty quick off the mark. A nice slide, block tackle. So already we've seen the difference with the surface. As we said, it's in very good condition, but just that little bit of water has made the ball hold up a little bit, so some of those through balls.
Corner gets taken short. It's a good delivery into the box. The header just over the bar. Early warning shot fired by Lions.
Yeah, the Gap missed their opportunity there to recognise a short corner was about to be played. It was a nice little cross in the end, and I'm sure if she gets a chance to watch that back during the week, she'd be disappointed she didn't get that on target.
Robertson again clearing. She's had plenty of work to do early in this game. We mentioned that not only is there partners that are playing for opposite teams, we've got the Narana Buzzer, who was, of course, the goalkeeper for the Gap last season. She's the goalkeeper coach at Lions. Talking to her last week, she was saying that she felt sick about today's game, that she was considering wearing a half and half shirt.
Oh, I think Gary Ward, the Gap's coach, his flight's been delayed as well, so he hasn't even made it to the field yet. So, as you say, the merry-go-round happened in the off-season. A lot of movement in the off-season this year, or the last season. So,
Yes, with Gary Ward en route to this game, it's expected that he'll be here by half-time. Tony Skinner is the coach for the game this evening, for the start of the game anyway. Lions maintaining good possession. Horsey. O'Neill. Heatley. Gap maintaining some compact lines. Nice touch over the top there from Eker. Puts Clough in space. Cross is cleared. O'Neill again. That ball runs out of play.
As you said, the Gap have done quite well there. They sat back, quite prepared to let Lions have the ball in and front of them. They just don't want to obviously get caught in behind. You've got Tegan riding up front with a fair bit of pace. Whitney Knight out there on the right wing. She's got a fair bit of pace to burn as well. So I'm sure that'd be the instructions that they will be going out with to make sure that they play with the game in front of them. Don't let the players get in behind and attack that space in behind.
Yes, we expect this might be the pattern of the game with the Gap missing so many of their big weapons that they might be camped out in their defensive third, and but they've looked pretty comfortable so far. Caitlin Winter goes down. Under pressure from Clough. Free kick to the Gators. Free kick taken quickly. Zafina comes out to collect.
One of the aspects that happens when you've got a lot of players out and a lot of experience out too is young players get an opportunity, and they would have been talking about this game since the draw had been done, both sides, obviously with the changeover of players and coaching staff. So some of these young girls get a good opportunity tonight to get some nerves out. And at the moment, they're actually doing a pretty good job of keeping the ball. But as you can see there, it's probably the slipperiest part of the field really here, isn't it, on the sidelines? Just
on the edges, yes. As you can see there, the field's been extended by 1 metre on each side. They keep messing with the configurations here at Lions Stadium.
It's those pesky assistant referees up and down the sideline. With this bit of rain, you can see the well-worn path. The poor old refs, they cop it from every angle, don't they, for everything?
They certainly do. Not sure if I mentioned our Total Tools referees this evening. Let's wait till this ball gets cleared. So the Total Tools referee for this evening is Taylor Schofield. We, of course, saw her in action last week. The assistants are Bailey Jacobson and Harrison Newbury. Oh, bad turnover there. It's still sitting up, and the shot just wide. Opportunity missed there by Knight.
Oh, that was on a platter. You know, Whitney Knight, she had a taste of W League a few years ago in Melbourne there with Melbourne Victory, and she's obviously keen to try to get herself back into a W League team again, and you know, those are the chances that you have to take. It
was all a bit casual then, wasn't it? The turnover and the attempt on goal.
And just technically, she just got that all wrong there. She leant right back. Sort of two unforced turnovers really from the Gap in their back third there, and with the game only 10 minutes old, you won't want to even do that the whole game. Or you have to. Your luck certainly runs out at some stage.
After a good start there by the Gap Gators, they've had a couple of warnings. The Lions are here to play. Horsey goes straight through the middle. Finds Riding. Ball out the right-hand side. The numbers in the middle.
And you see there, Tegan Riding does a great job of dropping back into the hole in between the lines to keep a hold of the ball. And they put a great little play on their lines, but no one went into that advanced position. No one went to take up her spot as the striker, and the cross has come in and just easily cleared by the gap.
And Chloe Robertson again is in the right place. Thought she had an excellent game last week against Moreton Bay. Really made her mark in the midfield, despite being on a losing team.
Yeah, and some of those goals were just simple defensive errors, weren't they, really? And the scoreline probably didn't reflect the manner of the match, to be fair.
Despite those errors, it was the game of the season so far for mine. I haven't been that excited since grand final day after a match. It was just great to watch. Hopefully we get something similar this evening.
Well, we saw the grand final. We were in camp at the time, getting ready to head off for our Asian Cup. So the young Brisbane Roar players in the Junior Matildas, we were on a bus from Canberra up to Sydney, and we were watching the game, and yeah, they were very excited. Young Winona Heatley.
And it was strange, those Roar players, they didn't quite realise the enormity of what they'd achieved in that grand final. And that cross just goes over the bar.
I think that's this generation, though, isn't it? Really, it's that chilled generation.
Maybe it'll take them 20 years when they look back on their careers and get a sense of the enormity of what they achieved.
It's great to see so many of those players from that squad last year too have all moved on. They're playing obviously spread out around the league, which is great for the league. There's a lot of very good players there, bring a lot more experience to the league.
Sunderland gets a return ball. Can't clear Ecker. Doherty comes over to tidy up. Surrenders possession to Clough. Sarah Miller. She loses out to Clough. Lennon winning the ball, the gap, but again, just turning it straight over. One thing I wanted to put to you, Ray, one thing that I've noticed this season is the improvement in the league is the defence, the physicality of the defence. The players are much more prepared to put their bodies on the line and actually get some shoulder contact in. Have you noticed that at all?
Oh, being an old school defender, that's bread and butter part of the game. You know, they shall not pass if you're a forward. So, look, obviously that the girls are training a little bit more, probably as well than they used to. So they're probably a little bit fitter generally, probably a little bit stronger generally. But
Ecker. Lions. She's got the Lions armband this evening. Gents now for the gap. This is Timmins. Timmins has done well there to retain possession. Cross for Winter and Doherty. Switches play out to the left. A touch from Eason Coots. A little bit too strong.
And once again there, Timmins did well, as you said. She was up there all by herself up front, and with the gap sitting so deep and compact there in defence, when they do break forward, they need to get a few more players to support. And thought that time if they'd have let the ball run, there's a great run made by the fullback overlapping there. If they let the ball run, then they might have had a chance to get 2-on-1.
Ecker goes down.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Tiffany brought a little bit of noise to the crowd.
Oh, she's so embarrassed. She's walking away. She's so embarrassed to get that free kick.
Ecker now. Can't find a teammate. Ball goes harmlessly through for Sunderland. Ray, just wanted to ask you about the young Matildas. We tried to keep up with your exploits last season. How's the team going, and where are they at? At what stage are they at the moment?
So our junior Matildas have qualified for the Asian Championship, so we'll head off to Thailand in September to try and qualify for the 2020 World Cup, Under-17 World Cup, which will be held in India. And the young Matildas are away in Myanmar at the moment. Their qualifiers start, I think, on Friday, where they've got to try and qualify for the 2020 World Cup, for the Under-20 World Cup next year. The 2020 Under-20 World Cup in 2020. There you go.
How many games do they need to win in these upcoming tournaments?
So the challenge is when you get to that Asian Cup, you've got to finish top 3. There's eight countries. You've got to finish top 3.
Right.
The AFC has 3 spots to the World Cup. So that'll be our challenge, is to go across there. We had the draw, hasn't been done yet, but we'll in 2 pools of 4, so we'll get 3 games to move through to the semi-finals and then get through to try and place in the top 3 to go to the World Cup.
Turnover there for Miller, but it's cut out quickly. O'Neill. Still going, O'Neill. Sophie Passion turns the ball over. Looks like Lions are going to win it back though. We've got runners coming forward. Cut out well by Dibley. Ball's still there for Clough. Goes back for Horsey. Ecker. Touch just a little bit too slight.
Once again, Lions break down the right hand there, but I think that they've got to try to look to vary that cross a little bit more. The gap defence are pretty well structured there when the ball comes in. They're being able to get that ball away every time.
The free kick here for Lions. Clough does take it quickly, goes back to Horsey. The pass just evades Riding. O'Neill swings it out to Clough. Canning Clough's been such a great outlet for Lions already this evening and this season. American import. Strong work there from Ecker. That touch does stay in play. So Ray, with these upcoming tournaments, have you already got a squad in mind? Has that already been selected? Are there still players that can force their way into those teams?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no squad yet. These players are, sort of 14, 15, 16 at the moment. So, as you know, players can change an awful lot over the space of that time, and players who have missed out last time, have made a huge leap in, in their general game awareness, their general skill levels. So they come into the possibility to be selected. The 2 main opportunities to select players this year will come from our 2 talent identification tournaments. We'll have the National Youth Championships in Coffs Harbour in July, and then the following week will be the NTC Challenge, which is the Under-17 tournament in Canberra. So essentially the bulk of the squad will come from those 2 tournaments.
So if we've got any 14 or 15-year-olds out there at the moment watching this broadcast, what's your message to them, Ray?
It's not too late. We're still looking. We're still looking. We're always looking. This is the beauty and modern opportunity now with certainly Football Queensland. There's so many games now that on Facebook Live here that we can stream and watch. I haven't had an opportunity since I moved back to Brisbane to get to too many games the last 12 months, but I've certainly watched an awful lot of them, on the stream. So, wonderful opportunity.
Cap struggling just to get out of their third here. Well, remaining cool. Miller.
I've been really impressed with the way that they've tried to play out from the mat. They haven't really looked to panic at all. They've really looked to try to put the foot on the ball and play their way out.
Been a feature of their game so far. Partly because they've struggled to get the ball over into the attacking third, but Great to show that the gap principles are remaining in place.
Yes, that last pass, isn't it? Sort of, as they look to break forward, they've really got to make sure that they play that ball into feet, and that whoever that ball's going through to, that they can actually hold the ball up, hold the play until the support players can get forward.
That crossfield ball only finds Clough. Riding. Still there for Lions. This is Westland. And touch goes out of play. The IFCCA is Australia's only football-specific coaching conference on the 25th and 26th of May on the Gold Coast. Get your delegate pass today at ifcaa.com.au. And if you want the chance to win a delegate pass to the IFCCA, we're giving you the chance to win one of 3 passes. Simply visit ifcca.com.au and tell us which keynote speaker you're most looking forward to seeing and why.
Yeah, that's going to be a cracker of an opportunity for all coaches around the country. There's so many coaches coming in from around the world. Kenny Stead there, the brains trust behind the IFCA conference, and Kenny's such a great bloke, such a very well-respected football man here in Queensland in particular, but he's put together a really great ensemble.
Here's Lions coming forward now through Horsey. Run from Ridings, offside.
I wish I had $1 for every time Tegan made that blind run.
Just a bit of a delay on the pass, wasn't there?
Yeah, she just needs to check her shoulder there a little bit and just bend that run out a little bit. She finds herself sometimes strolling into that offside position, and she'd give herself so many more opportunities if she just bent that run and changed her body position.
Touch from Westlands. Cut out by Heatley. Sorry, by Riccardi. Riccardi finds Winter. Caitlin Winter, of course, came on as a sub in the second half last week and played as a forward. Playing a little bit deeper this evening. Here she might have half a chance here. Cut out well by Heatley.
I would love to see young Katie Winter there just take that one last touch past the defender onto her right foot and then get the shot off.
25 minutes in here in this NPLW Round 10 match between Lions and the Gap. It's currently 0-0. Not too many goal scoring opportunities. Lions have probably had the best of the chances.
You'd say that Tegan Riding and Whitney Knight have both had one pretty good chance, haven't they, there? Picking up possession in and around the edge of the box.
It's an enthralling contest. Of course, the Gap are missing some of their big stars this evening. So it's been a little bit backs to the wall, which is normally not what we expect to see from the Gators.
And picking up that suspension last week didn't help either, did it? So
that's right, both the Fryer Trends are out this evening.
They'd make a huge difference there tonight too.
Sian Fryer had such an impact for her team last week. It was Talitha Doro that got the red card.
I've got to say, though, at the moment, that their replacements are doing really, really well. Really impressed at the moment with the Gap.
Ball put forward for Timmins to run onto. Safina tidies up.
The big question will be, Darren, if they can follow that through for the 90 minutes, because, as you said, they're a little bit skinny on the bench there with their depth. So
big field here at Lions Stadium, probably a little bit larger than Walton Bridge Reserve.
It's a lot bigger than the Quarry. There's a lot more grass in the quarry too.
Becker comes in field looking for an option. Tries the reverse ball. Chance now for the gap to go. That touch just a little bit too strong. Lions get there with numbers.
It was a sublime touch, wasn't it, to bring the ball down, and she just needed to recognise Timmins had made that run forward and just to play that little ball in behind.
Ball comes back for Riding. Riding goes down. Free kick's given. And the yellow card is produced. So another set-piece opportunity here for the Lions.
Tegan Riding just made that little touch of the ball, didn't she? She just got that ball out from under her feet, and Liz Doherty there just completely mistimed that challenge.
Just while they're setting up for this free kick, I'll just run through some of the other results in this round. So on Tuesday night, Souths took on Brisbane Royal QAS. It was a 5-0 win for Souths. Logan this afternoon have had a 5-2 victory over Western Pride. And Gold Coast United, they had the big result of the weekend, of the Easter weekend, a 4-1 win over high-flying Capalaba. It's a massive result for them. I'll check at half-time for the result between Easts and South West Queensland Thunder. That match is still in progress. And at 7:30 tonight, actually Sunshine Coast Wanderers and Mitchelton has been postponed. So that match will not be going ahead this evening. The free kick goes low. Straight into the wall. Big collision there. Neeson Coots brings the ball out.
Yeah, on the Capalaba match, as you said, a bit of an upset there. I know Capalaba had a few players out there as well over the Easter weekend, so...
We saw Captain Steph Latham posting from Port Douglas this morning.
Yeah, she usually goes away to Hamilton Island this time of the year and gets herself married, but this year hubby had to stay at home, look after the dogs, and she went on a family holiday to Port Douglas.
I asked her if she was going to be right for this afternoon. She said yes, she'll be back in time. I don't believe it though.
Steph Latham wouldn't lie. Crossfield ball trying to find Ecker. It's cut out by Dibley. Ecker again. Horsey. Finds Riding. Riding being held up by the gap defence. A lovely through ball and the chance. It's over the bar. Well, I could put my last comments on repeat in relation to the missed opportunity there.
Lovely piece of play there from Lions. Working from the left-hand side. Going crossfield. It's just that finishing that's letting them down. It's been the story of the season so far. Rebecca Horsey, I've really enjoyed her energy so far in this first half hour.
She's another great young player that's come through, young Queensland player that's come through the system. Went overseas there. Has come back. Really nice, well-rounded player.
Ecker again, taking on Cross. Sunderland comes out. Gap defence clear.
That was a great interception there. There's two Lions players on that back post just waiting to tap in.
Ecker again. Such wonderful foot skills. They'll have to make do with the corner. So 31 minutes into this game. Still no goals. How long can the gap defence hold out? Corner comes in low. Timmins has done well again there. She had a wall of orange shirts in front of her and did all the right things to maintain possession. And she's on the ball again. Another lovely touch. Out wide for Miller. If Sarah Miller can get her head up, she's got 3 players in front of her. Here's one of them in Winter. Sunderland. Lane Sunderland. Miller. Not enough power on the shot. Goes harmlessly wide.
That was a promising counter-attack, wasn't it, from the gap? They had 3-on-3 there at the back. They just probably needed 1 or 2 of their midfielders to make a dart forward, but once again they got themselves in pretty good position there, and a bit of a tame sort of shot at the end. I'd like to see them really back themselves. And
Tatiana Timmins, what an impressive little start she's had to this game.
Yeah, she's very, very composed, as we said earlier. Got her head up, looking to see where the support's coming.
Gap again, just playing the ball to feet. Timmins again, finding Miller. Miller with the through ball, a little bit too strong.
Yeah, they're not playing with a lot of width at the moment. The gap, they've narrowed off a little bit. Bit of a consequence from all the defending. Being nice and compact here, but they do need to try to stretch Lions when they go forward.
Becker and Winter. And Gap will win that mini battle.
Our Katie Winter's just grown so much, being away for a few years and coming back, and I haven't seen her up close for a little while, and she's all grown up as a little 12-year-old, and now look at her, fierce.
Just let the viewers know, Ray, what is the involvement that you've had with the players out here? Is it coaching the local clubs, or is it in your FFA roles?
Oh, a lot of these girls are, I have watched in and around, coached some of them in Queensland, youth squads over the years. As I said, Tegan's a perfect example there. As a 12-year-old, she sort of came into a development program, and I gave Tegan an opportunity to come down to Canberra United when I went down there.
There's a chance now for Lions. Good defensive work. McLennan getting vital interception.
Yeah, and you see young Winona Heatley there. She was part of the Junior Matildas. 2 years ago, our last Asian Cup Championship. So, yeah, a number of the girls that you can, have, as I said, grown up in Queensland, come through the system, come through the development systems. And it's great fun to work pretty closely at the moment with Liz Doherty out there as she's the under-13 head coach of our Queensland program.
Ecker. Plays the ball back out. And the cross comes in. Chance now for the gap to break, but the numbers aren't spilling forward. Had a lot of defensive work to do in this half. Perhaps they can be forgiven for not breaking as quickly as they did then. Nice touch from Sunderland under extreme pressure. Miller. Winter. Cut out by Horsey. Chance now for the gap to just relieve the pressure. Get some air in their lungs.
Liz Doherty is sucking in the big ones there in the middle of the park. She wasn't too impressed about playing in the number 6 role today. She figured that was way too much running.
Sunderland's touch. She didn't put the full boot into that clearance. Strong defensive work. Been really impressed with the foot skills of the players this evening, Ray.
Yeah,
really
look at that.
On a show for us.
They've actually played some really good football. And here, this is what I was talking about, the width now.
Here's a chance now for Winter. Winter and Clough. Winter's shot. Quite strong enough. Clough getting back just in time.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the Gap's best route to goal. On that counter-attack tonight, they're doing really, really well. Frustrating Lions in and around the centre of the park. I think that's going to be their route to goal, is that quick counter-attack.
Westland. Back for O'Neill. Horsey. He's playing just a little bit of keep ball at the moment. Full Winter makes an interception. Quite fine Miller.
Yeah, she tried to play the little return pass in, but she didn't have any legs to keep running.
Bit hard when you're on the ground, isn't it? Touch from Riding, or perhaps a non-touch there from Tegan Riding. He goes down the line for Winter. Gap again, find themselves in a place on the field that they'll be very familiar with. Sophie Passion getting through plenty of work in this game as well.
Yeah, I think they probably missed George's work in the middle there as well. She's just able to control the tempo really, really well.
Another important interception there from Dibley. Lions have yet another corner.
Yeah, and they'll take it short again.
Sophie Passion, who's cross field, just over the head of Horsey. Morton keeps the ball in. That will dribble harmlessly out of play. We'll just quickly run through some of the NPL matches that are going on this evening. Eastern Suburbs in the 82nd minute are 7-2 up against the Magpies Crusaders. Lions are 3-1 up over Western Pride with 9 minutes to go in that game. 63 minutes in, and it's Moreton Bay United 4, Southwest Queensland Thunder 1, Brisbane Strikers 0, Gold Coast Knights 1 in the 39th minute. A little earlier today, of course, Olympic had a 3-2 victory over Brisbane City. All straight back for Passion. Sunderland gets down. Tidies up. On ball downfield. And it just gets caught in behind. Lines clear well. Straight away they go to the sidelines. Miss there by Doherty. Offside flag goes up. And that was crucial for the Gap. They had a 4-on-3 there.
Oh, you can see Rob's pulling his hair out down there, Rob Askew.
That was a big opportunity that went begging there for Lions.
And once again, it's just that discipline, you know, from the players across the front lines, just being disciplined to have a look across, see where the defenders are. You've got to judge and time that run. She's got so much pace out there, she doesn't need that extra metre. She can easily afford to check herself back and give herself that extra metre.
So just under 5 minutes to go to half-time. We still haven't had a goal in this game. Horsey with another interception. Finding Riding.
That's something that the Gap will have to sort out. Tegan Riding's doing that increasingly more, just dropping into that little hole in between the lines there and getting on the ball.
Across, the ball stayed in. No, it was decided that it was out of play. Sunderland hasn't quite worked that out. She has now. Goal kick here for the Gap. It's one of the features of this competition, Ray, is watching Tegan Riding running at defences, and collecting the ball from deep, and once she gets those hips turned around, gets that head up for steam, one of the features of the league.
And it has been for a very, very long time too. She's been doing it for a long time, scoring a bucket full of goals.
Good important turnover. Cut out well there by Riccardi.
She's had a great first half so far, Riccardi. And even still, she's keep going.
She's just looking for an option at the moment.
Keep going.
Finally, it comes through Doherty.
Right idea there from Liz. You want to try and get Winter on the ball. Just that last pass again, just that execution of that last pass, letting them down a little bit in the gap.
Quite clearly a free kick given away there by Echo. Taken quickly by Dibley. Miller. Out for Dibley again. Deflected cross. Zafina comes out quickly. Cap again. Just getting a little bit more into this game as the half's worn on. They're finding their feet. Making inroads through this very tough Lions midfield.
Well, those youngsters have got a little bit of confidence now. They've fair few passes have stuck. They've opened up, created a few opportunities of their own.
Very interested to see who's going to give the halftime talk here for the Gap. Here's a chance now for Reker. Reker goes with the cross. And the chance. Goal! Well, it was a crucial turnover. Reker just going down the line in the crossfield ball. Whitney Knight opens the scoring with a minute to go before halftime.
Yeah, that'd be very, very disappointing for the girls there. They've done so well there at the Gap to try to get through to halftime. Just really poor positioning in the end. Some of the defenders there just weren't aware that Whitney Knight was out of the back post. They've shown enough, the Gap, to show that if they can just get through now, get a little bit of, as you said, a bit of instruction. Not sure who. Liz Doherty can probably do that herself at halftime there.
I was just going to ask you to check the bench there, Ray, and just see who is there.
Yeah, I think
if Gary Ward's shown up yet.
Nah, Wardy's not there. I'll be nominating Liz Doherty to give the halftime speech, an inspired chat.
And there it is, hammer blow right on the halftime whistle. Pretty entertaining first half. Some great foot skills shown by both teams. But at half-time here at Lions Stadium, it's Lions FC 1, the Gap 0. We'll be back very shortly with the second half. We've got a great game here. Stick around.
Why do I play football? you play football? I play for fitness.
For competition.
Community spirit.
It's healthy and safe.
And fun.
I play for celebration.
What's your reason? Join our team.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Smoking big cigars. I hope you're ready for what's coming now. I'm the one on the lady that will bring you down. There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running like the river, but they all never come for the booze and bass. I'm the one on the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this all you men with suits and ties, just sitting in the crowd smoking big cigars. I hope you're ready for what's coming now. I'm the one on the lady that will bring you down. There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running like the river, but they all never come for the booze and bass. I'm the one on the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place.
Hit it!
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
Hi, my name is Asma and I'm from Somalia. Football Queensland has inspired me to continue playing football. Welcome to the
Lies will melt away into yesterday. And we will live on try.
We can land on top, but I'll just leave it up and have a bit of fun. To be given this grand final, which is better. What a drama that would be. An opportunity for White. Straight into the penalty area. 1-0 against the supporters now.
Ankles.
Why do I play football?
Why do we play football? I play for fitness.
For competition.
Community spirit. It's healthy and safe.
And fun.
I play for celebration.
What's your reason? Join our team.
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
Hi, my name is Asma and I'm from Somalia. Football Queensland has inspired me to continue playing football. Welcome to the
Lies will melt away into yesterday. And we will live on try.
We can land on top, but I'll just give it up and have a bit of fun. Given this grand final, which is better. What a drama that would be. It's an opportunity for White. Races to the penalty area. 1-0 in front of the supporters now.
Welcome back to Lions Stadium and Football Queensland's presentation of the NPLW. I'm Darren Lutton, and with me this evening is Ray Dower. And we've got a pretty good game on our hands here. Lions FC 1, the Gap 0. Goal just before the break by Whitney Knight. Plenty of pressure from Lions in the first half. The Gap had to withstand barrage of attacks, but they worked their way into the game. They got more confident as things went on, and just when you thought that they were going to assume superiority, bang, they got sucker punched, and the Lions took the lead. Ray, what do you think the coaches would have said to their respective teams at half-time?
I think Rob would have been his cranky self, and he probably would have, he would have certainly spoken to his forwards there and said that they can't be so wasteful. Tegan Riding, obviously, and Whitney Knight had a couple of other chances to put the game to bed well and truly before half-time, but he also would have reminded them that the Gap won't stop. They'll keep coming at them, and they did create a couple of opportunities, as you say, throughout the game there. And I think Liz Doherty, she should have taken the reins there at half-time, maybe with Gary Ward away, and maybe she would have instructed them to take that opportunity as well. They're only going to get a couple of chances in that front third, and instead of being, too nice to each other and handing over the ball in the edge of the box, you really got to try and take some shots in there. And they've done some great work to get the ball up there. It's just that it's that finish, it's that last decision to take that shot.
Just looking at the faces of the Gap players as they walk past us, they all seem pretty relaxed and having a bit of a joke. So
a little bit of a smile. Everyone's saying g'day to each other there on the bench. It was everyone reuniting.
Now, just quickly, before we get under the second half, I'll quickly run through the results from other grounds. So, Tuesday, South United took on Brisbane Royal QAS and had a 5-0 victory. This afternoon, Western Pride 2, Logan Lightning 5. Gold Coast United 4, Capalaba 1. That was the big result from today. East and Southwest Queensland Thunder. Now, we didn't catch up with that result. Might get you on that, Ray, and see if we can track that down. And in the NPL, just a few minutes to go in this one. Moreton Bay 5, Southwest Queensland Thunder 1. Half-time, Gold Coast Knights 1, Brisbane Strikers 0. Queensland Lions had a win over Western Pride 3-1. Eastern Suburbs 8, Mackay Crusaders 3. Clearance there from Sunderland. Riding coming back from an offside position. Ball does stay in play. And shot from Knight. Again, that still stays in play. Hecker goes back for Riding. Shot goes wide.
Almost committing the cardinal sin there as a defender, let the ball bounce there. You just have to get the ball away.
So just rounding out those last two results, Eastern Suburbs 8, Magpie Crusaders 3, and Olympic 3, Brisbane City 2. That was, of course, in the NPL. So pretty action-packed Easter Monday here in the NPL and NPLW. And of course, everyone over the age of 30 that you spoke to this weekend all mentioned, well, in my day, we played 2 games over the Easter weekend.
As a matter of fact, we did.
I had no reason to doubt them, Ray. No reason at all. I actually think it's pretty good with the scheduling. Gives the games on the Easter Monday, gives the players the opportunity to have a little bit of time out and enjoy a bit of time with their family, and come back just on the Easter Monday, late on the Easter Monday, and get a game in. Ran a poll on the South East Queensland football community page, and 2/3 of the people out there were in favour of these Easter Monday matches. So probably something that FQ will stick with, I reckon.
Well, the rate of games that have been washed out already this season, when we're only into round 10, we can't afford to leave too many more weekends out.
Of course, we can do so with the FQPL, with not as many teams in the competition. 15 and 13 team competitions for the men's and women's. Going to get those fixtures in.
And Football Queensland have got to be congratulated there in relation to the IFCA conference later. They're in May, that there's no NPL and NPLW fixtures that weekend to allow coaches and the football community enough opportunity without worrying about their own club commitments that weekend.
Yes, will be a weekend off, but not for the coaches. And I also suspect, Ray, that anyone that who wouldn't want to go and see Arnie speak?
Well, there's the list of speakers is phenomenal. As I said, what Kenny Stead's been able to bring in.
I mean, it's going to be fascinating to hear about Inter Milan and how they train their youth and develop their youth products.
Yep, it's coaches from Spain, from England, from Portugal. It truly has got an international flavour.
Good cut out there by Miller. Just as Eker was about to launch into a shot. Lions have had most of the going here early in the second half, and it sits up there for Eker. No problem for Sunderland.
She just didn't quite get that. It fell to a less favoured foot. She just didn't quite get a hold of it.
Knight trying to win the ball back for Lions, unable to do so. McLennan. Here's Whitney Knight with the cross. Gap bodies just in the right positions at the moment, doing just enough. So Lions showing all the attacking intent in the second half, just as they did in the first half, Ray.
Yeah, they're almost camped, aren't they, in that in the Gap's defensive half.
Here's a chance again. This is Whitney Knight for a second. She scores! Lions take a 2-goal lead. And that constant pressure 5 minutes into this second half has finally paid off. And Whitney Knight adds a second goal to her tally.
She did well there. Her first touch took the ball right away from in front of her, but she had just enough pace there. The goalkeeper wasn't quite sure whether she was going to come or not. Just enough pace to tow it through.
Whitney Knight originally from the Gold Coast, way down to playing the NPLW in Victoria. She's come home, having a bit of a night out this evening, helping herself to her second goal.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate. She fell over, didn't she? The Gap defender there, it sort of slipped over on the dewy surface, on the wet surface, and the little head through was a little penetrating dink from over the head, just gave her that little bit of space to open up and finish off.
Long-range goal attempt there from Liz Doherty. That'll be one for the highlight reel.
Yeah, we'll be looking at that at training on Wednesday night, mate. Don't you worry about that.
Eker goes out wide. This is Knight again. But the offside flag goes up.
Yeah, well, I think might get Liz in for some shooting practice on Wednesday night. I'll get the 13s to open up and show her the right technique.
Miller. Whitney Knight again. Lovely touch. This riding couldn't quite get the ball under control. Lovely little interplay there between the Lions forwards.
But as we said before, I'm fairly certain that Rob Askew would have mentioned to certainly Tegan and to Whitney Knight there, that to not be wasteful. And it's one of the things that, you know, if that first half, if they'd taken their chances there, then the game certainly would be over. But at 2-0, if the Gap can get an opportunity to get forward and take an opportunity, they're defending pretty resolute.
Lions actually had a pretty good week in training, Ray. They took on the under-14 boys and beat them 4-0. And finishing that evening was one of their highlights. So the players should be confident going into this game. Having said that, this season, Lions could have racked up some absolute cricket scores in some of the matches that we've seen. So it's been a bit of a bugbear from them, but obviously they've got enough class and quality across the park to get the results that they've needed. They, of course, haven't lost a game yet. Just the one draw so far against Logan Lightning.
Don't mention the war. Don't mention the war, mate.
Lions corner. And headed in! Or is it cleared? Cleared off the line. I thought for sure that was hitting the back of the net.
You committed the fatal error there, Darren. You never get up and celebrate until it hits the back of the net.
Knight again. That cross leaves a little bit to be desired. A chance now for the Gap just to settle themselves down.
Yeah, they've done really, really well to scramble enough and to, you know, either make a nice block, you know, tackle, or a last ditch, you know, toe in. They've done really, really well to you know, keep it to only two goals. But it's just that desperation.
As the game wears on, perhaps the absences of players like Ruth Blackburn and Kim Abbott will be telling.
Yeah, and certainly, as you said, the Fryer twins as well. I think that make a big difference tonight there as well. It'll really, the fitness certainly of the Gap girls will be tested.
Lions again. Clennon wins the ball back. A little dinked pass here, looking for Timmins.
Winnie the Pooh's got that one under control.
Special comments from Ray Dower.
She's a good young player. Winnie moved down from Cairns, you know, came down to boarding school and to develop her football, and she's done really, really well. Been in and around the young Matilda squad, the under-20 squad. Just missed out on selection there to go to Myanmar. But I'm sure she's still got that firmly in her sights for the end of the year.
Here's a question for you, Ray. When you go into these camps, mobile phones, are they allowed?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's not a jail. It's not a jail cell, Darren.
But obviously the younger generation are far more attached to their phones than people of, say, my age or your age, Ray.
No,
do you have to put any restrictions on them at all?
Oh, look, certainly around the dinner table is one thing. So whenever there's meals, the players...
That shot just goes wide.
Yeah, always falling away, wasn't she? Just wasn't quite balanced there, Tegan Riding. But yeah, around the meal table, that you know, there's no phones at the meal table. That's the opportunity where they can actually make eye contact and have a one-on-one conversation or and stuff. No, the players are, you know, in terms of, you know, you're trying to empower these young girls and these young players to, you know, with some life skills as well. So you actually, you know, the regulation and stuff like that, you want it to come from then.
There's a chance now for the Gap to break. Timmins was inside. Just couldn't be found with the pass. Gap have a corner though.
She did really well there, Katie Winner. She just looked up, found that it was one-on-one there in the box with Timmins. A good block from Catherine O'Neill there to put the ball out. But once again, I think that's going to be the Gap's best opportunity to try to get a goal back.
Corner delivered short. Riding. Still going, Tegan Riding. Play gets cut out. Riding wins the ball back. Now McLennan. Asked to go down the line, but she elects to go back for Dibley. Touch there from Timmins could work out well for Sarah Miller. Gets a shot away. Just goes wide.
Wow, it's a right idea there too. I'm not sure the goalkeeper knew exactly where she was in relation to her goalpost, and if that was anywhere near on target, that was certainly a goal. She left her entire goal open there.
Nice invention there from Sarah Miller. And the gap almost makes something out of nothing. Ecker. Ecker getting the return ball. She's being held back. And she goes down. Looking at Total Tools referee Taylor Schofield for some sort of decision.
I think that might have made up for the one in the first half.
Lions will just have to make do with the corner.
Just going back onto the young players and their phones, Darren. I mean, they need to use their phones when they go away into camp. They've got to do schoolwork as well, so they need to use their phones to help them to do some of that. Obviously, it's a good means of communicating. Via, they need to know what the daily schedule is.
Look, let's face it, we're all on our phones, aren't we? I mean, I'm on my phone now.
Yeah, well, you wanted me to do a job for you, and you were too busy asking me questions. I couldn't do 10 things at once, mate. Come on. Ask the viewers to give us that final score. We're watching the game. Can't do the phone, the game, and the commentating at the same time.
Yes, that's true. That's true. So, yes, we're still waiting on that full-time score from East and Southwest Queensland Thunder. If someone could message that through, that would be greatly appreciated.
Trish Dorin, can you get on the phone and give us a buzz, please, and let us know the score.
Ecker again. Got riding in front of her. She links up with. The return ball isn't quite as successful. Back now for Horsey. And turnover. Timmins kept still for a little bit there. A little bit lost. Didn't quite present the run that required. Lions have the throw. Something troubling you, Ray?
I'm all good.
O'Neill. O'Neill's ball straight through the middle. And he finds Riccardi. Riccardi goes down the line. Looking for Winter. Some strong running there from the gap. It's the first time that we've seen so many players charging forward on one of these counter-attacks.
Yeah, no, just one step behind, weren't they? Young Caitlin Winter there absolutely put the afterburners on, got there in really good time to put in a great cross. They were just one step behind.
Clennon with an important intervention. And as a result, the Gap are able to come up the other end of the field. Winter couldn't link up with the teammate. Now Ecker's working the right-hand side. He's done a switch. And that touch from Sunderland. Gives the ball back. And riding. Gap with numbers. Are able to clear. Doherty finds Eason Coates.
And once again, that's just that last-ditch desperation. It says a lot about a team in terms of, we know we've talked about it, that they're under-resourced tonight, but it says a lot about Gary Ward's opportunity next week to say he'll watch this game on review, no doubt, and he'll get some input from some of his other staff, but with some of these young players that have stepped up tonight, it makes it a hard decision to leave them out for next week.
Very interesting to see some of these players playing out of position, and they've certainly made a fist of their roles this evening. Gap now have a corner. So the Football Foundation Queensland has been established to make football in Queensland as inclusive and accessible as possible by providing opportunities, creating community connections and supporting the growth of football. So that corner comes in. Lions are able to clear.
That's where you would usually expect Ruth Blackburn to come flying through and get on the end of.
Yes, her presence is certainly missed this evening. And Gap able to put a little patch together here. A bit of light drizzle comes over the field now.
That'll just make it that little bit more difficult. You can see the players have did a little bit of slipping around so far in the game. That will make it that little bit more difficult.
Riccardi cuts the ball out.
I've been really impressed with her game tonight. I think she's led that back line really, really well. She's got a lot of pace where she's been able to really match it with Tegan Riding and Whitney Knight, and her distribution's been quite good as well.
Yeah, she's been a bit gap player for the Gap over the past couple of seasons. Just filling in here and there. But, this season she's taken a more senior role on the side. Toddy wins the ball back for the Gap. Robertson tries to spray the ball out to the left. Lions win back possession. And that ball just trickles out of play.
McCullen's had a lot of work to do here on the left-hand side as well. She's just when she thought she was going to get a reprieve when Knight goes missing on the other side. She's got just as much work here to do.
Taking on Mario Leclerc. Of course, is one of the leading goal scorers for the Lions this season, with 9. Again, good defensive work from Riccardi. Offside flag goes up.
Yes, Tegan Riding coming back from an offside position.
Does the Gap make their first substitution of the evening? Letitia Foster is the player coming on. She replaces Tatiana Timmins.
She must pick up a little bit of a knock there, Timmins.
Pretty impressive performance from Tatiana Timmins this evening.
Yeah, she did quite well, as I think we mentioned a few times throughout that first half. She was up the front there by herself, bit of a lone ranger, and she did really, really well to hold the play up. But yeah, she looks like she's picked up a little bit of a niggle.
Certainly a performance that makes you want to see more of her in future. Hopefully she can force her way into this team on a more consistent basis. And there's the substitute Foster. He's been unleashes a bundle of energy as she hits the field.
Yeah, it's impressive first touch.
This is Debley. Field for Winter. Loses the balance. Lines come away. This is Clough. Gives the ball back to Robertson. And Lane Sunderland returns the favour. So in these drizzly conditions, Ray, is there any instructions that you give to your teams on how to, any adjustments that you need to make?
Oh, as soon as the surface gets a little bit slippery like this, the ball really skids off. So you know, the players have got to be really, really, their passing, the weight of their passing has got to be, you know, really accurate. If they start to really dip it in too hard, then, you know, you're asking an awful lot of your teammate to be able to control it. And likewise, you know, when you're receiving the ball, your first touch, you've got to give your whole body behind the ball because it skims off, and the ball, you know, you get a lot of players that start to stick a leg out here and there to try to stretch to when the ball skims off the surface, and you know that brings you into an increased sort of opportunity to sometimes get an injury with a collision or just overstretching.
Riding finding Knight, who's come back out to the right-hand side again. Crossfield ball, couldn't quite find Riding. Horsey. Back for Morton. And cut out by McLennan.
You can see McLennan really giving her calves a bit of a workout there. Bit of a stretch, starting to cramp up a little bit. The ground was already a little bit soft with the rain, and she's had to do an awful lot of running out here on the left.
O'Neill taking the ball over the halfway line, gets past Miller. Way back for Sunderland. Just sneaks the ball past Knight. Works out pretty well for the gap now. Pass just going astray. Eason Coots went down. Thought she might have done herself a disservice there for a moment. And she gets up.
Just embarrassment, I think, in front of the bench was, I think, was what it was.
Doherty. Pass from Winter. Couldn't quite find a teammate. O'Neill getting across in cover.
If they continue to get that ball out wide, there is still a little bit of, you know, space when they start to stretch lines, the gap. Be surprised if McLennan here gets through the rest of the game. Darren, she's really struggling with the calves.
It's just a question of the options on the bench here for the gap.
Or a bit of a reshuffle.
Maybe Liz Doherty can get that rest. Moving into the back line.
Bit of a reshuffle, go to three at the back, change their formation. They've played with three at the back a fair bit this season already, so...
Yes, that was Gary Ward's big stamp on the team. And changing the formation.
Sometimes people can get a little bit carried away with formations, really. It's senior football, I think, Darren, and at the end of the day, you play the formation that represents the players that you've got. You know, the cattle that you've got in front of you. That's how you. That's what you need to do, is use the strengths that you've got.
And both these teams have plenty of strengths. Clough, infield ball, looking for Riding. Still here for Lions. Ecker, can she get a shot away? Yes, she can. Straight to Sunderland.
She's done well there, young Sunderland. She was completely unsighted. She's still making her way back onto the line from the previous movement. She's done really, really well there.
Lions electing just to retain possession here. Open up the field, be patient. However, they created a turnover, and this is Winter. Finds Eason Coots. And cut out by Morton. You had Whitney Knight on. Just can't connect with the pass. That's a coach killer.
Yeah, and with less than 20 minutes to go, if you want to get back in the game, 2-0 down, you have 5 plays, you had a 5-on-3 there. You know, take advantage.
That's a great through ball. Lions able just to get enough bodies in the way. This is Miller. Sarah Miller playing a bit deeper this second half. Probably more by circumstance than design. And here comes Whitney Knight. Infield ball, finds Riding.
A slight sort of momentum shift in the game, wasn't it? The Gap have sort of got a little bit of extra possession, had a few opportunities to go forward, but as I was saying before that last little counter attack, when you do bomb 5 players forward there, then you need to make that forward pass to get in behind. They played another square ball, it's been cut out. They've nearly been hurt in the transition.
Game really starting to stretch. If Lions can show enough quality here, they could really blow this game away. Knight's delivery. Ecker tidies up. And puts the ball out of play.
Yeah, kudos to young Caitlin Winter again. She put it just enough pressure on there to force the error.
Don't forget to follow Football Queensland on Instagram and Facebook for the latest football news and events across the state. You can find us at Football QLD. Horsey tidies up for Lions. Back to O'Neill. Goes all the way back for Zafina. Sandra Josefina spent the summer at your old club, Ray.
No, which one?
Canberra.
in 43 years, I've had a few. Yes, Canberra United.
Yes, Canberra United. There's a number 3 keeper there.
She'd have lots of stories about Melissa Maisels.
There's a chance now for Riding. Shot goes wide. Looked to be half a shot, half a cross. Eke was coming across. The Gap live on.
The good thing about Tegan Riding is that she looked to go far post. It's something that I've spoken to about over a number of years. She'd look up and she's got a very, very good shot, as you know. But often she just wouldn't get herself balanced and get that standing foot right, and she'd try to beat at the near post every time. And so good to see she's been continuing to work on her craft.
And that's the end of the evening for Sophie Passion. And Tanisha Stanley makes a welcome return to the first team after a bit of time away. Just under 15 minutes to go now here at Lions Stadium in the NPLW Round 10 fixture. It's Lions FC 2, the Gap 0.
Substitution for Lions, number 16, Tanisha Stanley, replaces number 12, Sophie Pushon.
Cut out there by Winter. Did herself a disservice. She went down. We were talking before, Ray, about the sticky, slippery conditions. Just overstretched a bit.
Yeah, she sort of got a foot stuck on the ball, didn't she, really? But once again, just an unforced error under no real pressure. Their Lions and just trying to force passes when they're not on. And
that'll actually be Katie Winter's last involvement this evening, as she's about to be substituted.
She's got through a mountain of work there tonight as well. You can see just those last couple of last-ditch efforts there in defence. The tank is empty.
The diminutive figure of Emily Bowman takes up her place on the field.
4. Emily Bowman replaces number 8.
Looks to be stepping straight into the midfield.
Yeah, looks like they might have gone with us for a slight change here in their structure formation. Looks like they've pushed the third player up top.
Big collision between the two players. Bowman comes away with possession. It's a pass to Robertson, who can't hang on. Tanisha Stanley comes forward for Lions. It's Riding in Riccardi.
Yeah, once again, Riccardi's done really well there, hasn't she? She used her body very, very well. Got enough pace. Tegan Riding knew. She thought she'd just try to do a little trick, knock the ball past her.
Lions are making another substitution. Jamila Riley is about to come on. And Cameron Clough is the player to get an early drink.
Substitution for Lions number 7, Jamila Riley.
Jamila Riley coming back from a thigh injury. That's kept her out for about a month. Again, McLennan goes down. And the shot over the bar. That was Whitney Knight looking for a hat trick.
She could have had a double hat trick tonight, couldn't she? Really, if you take into account the first half opportunities as well.
Charlie McLennan's really struggling now.
She's close enough there to the bench that they must have asked her, are you all right? Are you all right?
Yes, you'd think if there was a position where you could get the bench's attention. Charlie McLennan has it at the moment. Now she's going to take on fresh legs in Tanisha Stanley. She wins it well.
It's a good ball,
Launches a ball forward for Miller. Zafina comes off quickly from her line. Easton Coots. Finds Bowman. There's a ball back to Westland. Lions will look to go again. Ten minutes to go in this game, Ray. What's your prescription for Lions at the moment? Would they just look to slow things down and just see it out and just use a bit of professionalism to get themselves over the line?
Yeah, I'd say Rob would have passed a few messages on, but that last substitution, the first thing he probably would have said was to stop giving the ball away on the edge of your box there, just silly unnecessary passes and just inviting the gap to get back in, to take one of these half chances that they're getting. Young Jess Hogg having a bit of a warm-up there. She looks like she might be getting ready, getting a few more instructions from Rob.
Miller gets past one defender. Almost gets past two. She might get a shot away. She goes for the cross instead. It's cut out by Riley.
And she was held back there a little bit too, so an interesting decision. I think the referee was playing advantage, but just couldn't get the ball out from under her feet to get the shot away.
Still an attack for the gap. Gap bench pretty quiet at the minute. Happy just to let the players manage the game themselves.
Oh, Bossy Boots Doherty, she's out there in the middle there. Liz Doherty, she's running the coaching from the middle of the park there tonight. I think she's driving the girls on. If they can get a goal here.
As the cross comes in.
If they can get a goal here, it'll make it for a very, very interesting last
yes, we love
10 minutes.
We love exciting finishes in the NPLW, Ray. Certainly had one last week. We'd love to have another one.
Well, such is the game, mate. If you do not take your chances like the Lions haven't tonight, then you just leave the gap with opportunities to get themselves back into the game.
Lions can throw everything at this contest. They've got the bye next week. And they take on Capalaba at home. I'm pretty sure that we have intentions of streaming that game. And they're away at Gold Coast United and away at Moreton Bay United. So they've got some huge games coming up in the next few weeks. So they should enjoy the break next weekend and really freshen themselves up.
Did you say a 4-0 win against the under-14 boys?
It was a 4-0 win, yes.
Well, the under-15 boys might get a look in next week on the week off.
Riding.
Rob doesn't know what to do with himself when he has a weekend off, so...
Ecker's shot is blocked. Through ball a little bit too strong. Safina tidies up. So for the Gap over the next few weeks, their draw opens up and they need to start getting some points again. This will be their, if the result stands, this will be their 4th game without a win. Stanley, it works out nicely for Ecker. Stanley again. Ecker, such a busy player. Infield for Horsey.
It's now where they have to risk and reward, Gap. They've got to send players forward.
Doherty just gets enough on the ball to find Easton Coots. Lets the ball through.
He's really struggling with cramp as well.
Plays continuing. On a nice touch. Easton Coots is getting some assistance with her cramp. So just running through the next 4 weeks for the Gap. They're home to Easts, away at Brisbane Royal QAS, away at Sunshine Coast Wanderers, and then home to Logan. So if they can regain their form, it's an opportunity for them to just keep touch with the top 4. They're a club that's not used to being off the top of the table. So expect a response from the Gap over the next few weeks. Free kick here for Lions. Standing coach Tony Skinner looks to make his last substitution.
Poor old Charlie McLennan has to see out the game.
Charlie McLennan has to do the full 90, and it's Zali Easton Coots that comes off.
Zali's calves are worse, so...
Zali, of course, was the player that was down with cramp.
Substitution for the Gap, number 3.
Rebecca Snell is the player that's come on.
Number 23, Rebecca Snell.
Well, it was always going to be the case, wasn't it? That to see how their fitness was going to be, how these, a little bit of a step up in intensity and the pace of the game. They would do a lot more running than they probably have for a long time.
Morton gets across in. Comes out for Stanley. Stanley goes down. Play on's the call from Schofield. Horsey tidies up for Lions. I really liked Rebecca Horsey's game tonight, Ray.
Yeah, she's really controlled that midfield well, as we said, with the absence of Georgia Chapman. Obviously, when they play alongside of each other there, they get to work off each other a little bit, but she's been able to just sit back, sit in that hole, just pull the strings.
Just seems to be a ball magnet this evening, and her distribution's been excellent as well. As Lions make their final substitution, and Jessica Hogg is about to get some game time. Not too much, mind you.
Another former Gap player.
That's right. And Whitney Knight will not be getting her hat trick. And she's the player that subbed. She had her chances. As well, we've got a break in play. I'll just quickly run through some of the NPL scores. There's 4 minutes left to go on the NPL between Gold Coast Knights and Brisbane Strikers. It's currently 5-0 to the Gold Coast Knights. And if you're wondering what's happening with the Gold Coast United game in Redlands United, that game did get postponed. So not too many fans out this evening on this Easter Monday. The crowd, the people that have been there, have been well and truly enthralled in this game. They've certainly been engaged. And Stanley again working down the right-hand side. Sits up for Morton. Morton gets a cross in. Cross for Echo.
There's a fair few people underneath the grandstand here. Obviously, with the inclement weather, they've chosen to keep themselves in the dry and out of the cold.
So have I underestimated the crowd this evening,
I
Ray?
think you might have, mate. So there's
1,000 people here.
that might be a stretch. If you count everyone in the club. But no, that might be a stretch, mate.
As Rob Scanlon tells me, every night at Lions is a busy night. Except when there's an electric failure.
I said don't mention the war.
So in the 90th minute of this game, looks like Lions are going to go top of the table with this win. Maintain their undefeated record. Moreton Bay had the bye this weekend. Heatley comes forward. Ball out in front for McLennan. Zafina comes off her line quickly, as she's done many times this evening to great effect. Charlie McLennan again. There's plenty of work to do. Here she is on the ball again. She's got through so much work under duress. Miller and Riley do battle. Riley wins that engagement. So just a couple of minutes of injury time here. It's just the substitutions that will have caused for time to be added. Just get your summation of this evening's match, Ray.
Well, I think Lions are deserved winners here tonight. They've certainly held the balance of possession throughout the game, certainly created the most opportunities, just wasteful. It could have been 5 or 6-0 probably as a final score, but in saying that, you've got to hand it to the Gap girls.
Perhaps one last chance. The ball comes in field. Eka with the win. And the shots over the bar.
That's been the story of the night, hasn't it?
Exactly. Took the words out of my mouth there, Ray. Lions have had plenty of chances to rack up an absolute cricket score. They're finishing. Been the story of the season.
Yeah, and on the face of it, you take the 3 points and you move on. But with the top of the table there being nice and close, goal average always plays a role. The missed opportunities, the opportunity to put a big score on, might come back and hurt them later in the season.
Lions have the best defence in the competition, but Moreton Bay have scored more goals. A chance now for Stanley. The offside flag goes up. And that might just be the last play of the game.
And they probably just lack that creativity and that, the finishing in that front third there, the Gap to really challenge.
And there it is. It's Lions FC who go back to the top of the table with a classy 2-0 win over the Gap. The Gap huffed and puffed, but just not enough quality on the pitch with a few players away. Two goals from Whitney Knight in the 44th and 50th minute was enough to see them over the line. Lions FC maintain their undefeated record. And as I said, go top of the table. Ray Dowb, it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us tonight. You told me at halftime that you'll be back with us again sometime this evening. We're going to hold you to that.
Thank you for having me, and I'm sure that my colleagues at Football Queensland will get me back out again soon.
Wonderful, wonderful. And on behalf of Tom McClifty from Double Take, I'm Darren Lutton. Thank you for tuning in this evening. And until we see you next weekend, enjoy your football.